Hi, my friends. Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today is kind of an interesting rant on my frustration with gaming news now. A couple of years ago, I couldn't wait to see the new E3. Can't wait to watch Sony's press conference and Microsoft's press conference and Ubisoft and Bethesda and everyone else. It was so exciting to see the legacy of gaming continue on with the latest technology and seeing your favorite franchises continue on and all this. And I've had some misgivings lately. My enthusiasm has changed, and I'll tell you why. First off, many of us like different types of games. We have different genres of games that we like. Some of us prefer more the Mario games and the Nintendo-type games and or retro games from the old days. They prefer playing a Sega Genesis or Super NES games or what have you, and I certainly, for one, can understand that. And when I started my channel a few years ago, 2012, it was all about not so much retro games, although I had a few of them, but it was about what was new. I was more excited about Hitman Absolution and Far Cry 3 and Forza Horizon and games like those. So that's why I started my channel, to talk about the games I like, to champion many of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 games that were getting put down at the time that I personally liked and thought were worth their salt. So we all are going to come from different places. I have friends of mine that's all they like to do is to play the those PlayStation PSP games, or the PlayStation Vita and the handhelds and the iOS, Android games and what have you. I personally can't get into those because without glasses on, it's just hard for me to see. And it's like, why play a game on a little tiny handheld that you can barely see when you can sit down on a couch and play it on a big screen TV? So everyone has their own thing as to what they like and what they don't like. I have several friends that just can't get into this new gen thing. They refuse to have an 8th gen console. For them, gaming died, years ago. They're sick of even hearing of anything that's new, and all they care about is the classics and standby classics. And there are elements of that I can appreciate. Certainly, I can understand. And I have the same misgivings. There's many things about some of the new technology and some of the new gaming trends I'm not thrilled about. I've discussed my frustrations with this digital-only, future, supposedly, it's coming whether you like it or not. I'm not so sure. I mean, it may be coming. There's no confirmation yet that that's going to be solely the future, but who knows? And there's people that are saying that the mobile games are the future, and consoles will be done away with altogether. I don't necessarily buy that either. I just saw, I think it was the Lazy Game reviewer just did a thing on. He had a tweet early this morning, and he showed an old magazine from like the 80s, and it said that it was talking about Doom and how FPS games were a fad and weren't going to last long. And of course, we know now that that's just the opposite. That it's one of the biggest genres out there. In fact, it's one of my favorites. So we've had these predictions before that don't necessarily come true. But I appreciate everyone's point of view, and I try to be optimistic and hopeful for the future of gaming because I love gaming. And I've been around, I've seen the whole transformation of it for 35 odd years. And it's been wonderful. It's been great to see the technology change, and I've quickly embraced it, as I've said before. Anything new that would come down the pike, I said, okay, that's great. I'm going to get that console. When I got the PlayStation 1 console right here, I took my Super NES and I gave it to my nephew with a pile of games 30 inches high. I said, here, dude, knock yourself out. He was thrilled until he got his first PS1 that tied him over for a year or so. So at least someone got some benefit from it, but it's hard to go back and play the Super NES games because back then there was no retro. It was really, you were kind of embracing what was new. You wanted to see what was new. Now we're at the point where we see a lot of what's new and we're not real thrilled with it. I mean, even movies today, you can count on one hand how many movies that come out in a whole year are even worth your time to watch. I mean, it's sad. The movie industry has changed. It's not what it was. Gaming in some ways have changed. Some things for the better, some not so much. But I'll tell you what prompted this whole rant. Recently, in fact, I just recently found Star Wars Battlefront. I found this a couple months ago, mint condition, complete with the booklet and the whole deal. And it's just so great that we can have these classics back, and I can play them over and over again, like the wonderful Star Wars Battlefront. And recently I found Star Wars Battlefront 2, and so thrilled to have these all complete. And I can play, the X-Wing fighters and all. And I'd like to get a GameCube, like I've said before, just to play the Rogue Squadron 2. I think would be so cool to have. So, naturally, many of us here have been excited about, well, God, I can't wait for, Star Wars Battlefront 3. It's going to be phenomenal. And I've heard all these, I got friends of mine that started their own Star Wars Battlefront channel, a YouTube channel where they specialize in news information about the new upcoming Star Wars game, and it's done very well because it has Star Wars in the title. Everyone and their brother watches it to see anything that's new. They want to have any tidbit that's new about the upcoming Battlefront 3. But my enthusiasm has been tempered and hampered, frankly, because I find out that it's all about multiplayer. That's all everyone wants. Now, I know some of these were early multiplayer games. I'm not, blind to that. But even then, when I had these back in the day for the original Xbox and the PlayStation 2 and played them, I would just play the single-player portion of it and go through and play my favorite maps against the bots or whatever. And that's fine. Now, supposedly the new Battlefront will have something like that, but they're not even going to have like a campaign. There's no story mode. They don't value the people that would like that. No, we're all about multiplayer. It's all, Battlefront's ever been about. We're going to give people what they want. No, you're giving the multiplayer fanatics what they want. You're not giving the single-player gamers what they want. So supposedly there'll be one element where you can play it either co-op or supposedly single-player, maybe against bots on a small portion of some of the maps. But it's like they're throwing a small bone to the guys like me that want a meaty single-player campaign. So guess what? I'm no longer thrilled about the new Battlefront coming out. I don't care how great the graphics are, how they've rendered, the Ewoks and, all of this, the original Star. They put all this wonderful effort and energy and talent into creating the most realistic Star Wars game ever, but they don't even have a single-player element. It's all about server-based online gaming, which I just really could give a rat's ass about. It's just not my thing. No offense to my multiplayer friends that perhaps are excited about this. I understand that. For you, that's big. What's here today is all that matters. You don't care about the longevity of a game like this. What happens when they pull the servers and you can no longer play them. People don't think about that. I do. That's all I think about. Now, I have friends that won't buy into the 8th gen at all. I actually went to the midnight release of the PlayStation 4. Because I was very excited about it. I missed out on, the last 7th gen console. It was 5+ years before I even got a 7th gen console, and even longer before I got the PlayStation 3 console. So I can understand and validate some of the frustration with some of the gamers today. Just not thrilled about it at all. I try to be optimistic. I try to be hopeful, because it's kind of like watching old movies. Like I mentioned the movies, you can count on one hand how many new movies a year come out that are worth watching. But that doesn't mean that I can't go and see the new Mad Max Fury Road and say, now that's an outstanding film. It's as good as The Road Warrior, as good as the original, if not better in many respects. So there are exceptions. And that's kind of how I feel about gaming. I like to go back and see the old classics. In fact, watching old movies. I'm watching. I found my old widescreen copy of the Big Chill movie from 1983 from Lawrence Kasdan, a wonderful movie, one of my favorite dramas, kind of a comedy drama, a must-see film. We'll never see a film like this. They spent 4 weeks in rehearsal before they even shot one scene. That's unheard of today. That's why this is an exceptional masterpiece film. So I already have a perfect copy of this in widescreen, so why would I go out and buy another copy on Blu-ray, which also has DVDs? It has behind-the-scenes stuff on DVD, as well as on Blu-ray. Well, it's because I want to play this on the latest technology. I mean, I still have my 2 TVs in here with my RCA VCR right over here, and I can sit down on the floor and enjoy these films, and I do. Occasionally I'll watch some of them, especially the more rare ones that I can't get on DVD or Blu-ray. But there's just something about taking an old film and seeing it remastered, in HD. This is remastered in 4K. I just bought a brand new Samsung 4K 55-inch 3D TV, which is phenomenal. I got an incredible deal. Samsung had $1,000 off of the price. So I reluctantly went down and bought one. I really didn't need one. But I have a little bit bigger TV. I had a 46-inch, and I get an even better one. I love the 4K resolution. I love the technology. The PlayStation 4 looks phenomenal on it. And the 4K Blu-ray, my mouth was hanging open. This is the finest digital transfer I've ever seen of a movie. So that's why I bought it, because I want the new technology. And that's one of the reasons why I don't have an issue with a lot of the HD remasters that we're seeing with games. It's the same thing. People are, oh God, I'm sick of seeing this trend of not remaking everything. Well, I want new games. And I do too. I want new IPs and new concepts in games as well. But I don't take anything away from the fact that we're going to have some of these games in the future that will be remasters. And they just announced yesterday, oh, we're going to have a new Uncharted. There's been leaks of, Uncharted Trilogy is going to be released on the PlayStation Store down the road. Maybe, sometime the end of the year or whatever, I'm not sure. And I think that would be great to be able to play those original classics, which I have here in my PlayStation 3 library, to be able to play them in HD at 60 frames per second. In like a 1080p graphics would be phenomenal. I'm all for that. So that's why I don't really have an issue with the HD remasters. I love playing Sleeping Dogs, with a higher graphics and frame rate and all that. It's wonderful. I like playing The Last of Us, at 60 frames per second. There really is a difference. So I embrace the new gen for that reason. I like the higher frame rate, and I certainly like the better graphics as a visual person, as an artist. So I'm selective with what I embrace with technology. That's why I say don't just be so quick to think that everything that's new is necessarily better, because I just don't buy it. I really don't think it is. Now they're talking, they just announced this new Fallout 4 game. Now I just recently bought the Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition. In fact, I even bought the Rare Strategy Guide, which they're running out of. I mean, they just have it, like, they had a run on Amazon. These things have been sold out. I mean, you can't even get these, and the strategy guides will be even more valuable. They're very expensive. The strategy guides are getting upwards of $50, some of them on eBay. So this is a great game, and I'm looking forward to playing this soon. Maybe even sooner than I thought, because I'm enthusiastic and excited somewhat about the new Fallout 4. But I'll tell you what kind of hampered my excitement and enthusiasm about the new Fallout 4. It has nothing to do with Fallout 4 or with Bethesda. It has to do with the recent Need for Speed reboot, or trailer that they showed recently, which I thought was photorealistic. I honestly thought it was real footage of cars driving through the streets of LA at night with cops chasing them. I didn't know that it was actually in-game footage. It's that realistic. So on the surface, it's like, oh wow, another Need for Speed game. It's been 2 years since we've had one. I've got, Need for Speed Rivals down here, which I loved. And you could play that online or offline. So that was one of the first, and really the only racing game that I have for the PlayStation 4. So Drive Club is an offline, an online racing game only. So I won't do it. I'm just not interested in it. So I take it and throw the game across the room a couple of years from now when the servers are down. It ain't my cup of tea. It's the same thing with these server-based games like The Crew and The Division and this new, they got a new, Rainbow Six game coming out, which initially I was excited about. I have Rainbow Six Vegas, 1 and 2 here for the Xbox 360. They're wonderful squad-based tactical shooters, but I refuse to buy this online-only game. The Payday, the Heist, and many of these other ones that are just, it's all about online multiplayer. That's it. They don't give a consideration, a rat's ass, that someone else might like to play in an apocalyptic setting, like Tom Clancy's I guess The Division. It looks great. I haven't heard anything recent on it in a while, but in one of the last E3s, we saw a lot of, new footage on it, and it looked great. And I said, man, that's my kind of game, until I found out it's a server-based only game. No sale. I'm not interested. So anyway, I find out this new Need for Speed game is all about being online. And that's it. It's all about online only. And so right off the bat, it's like, what a shame. I would have loved to have played a Need for Speed reboot. Why the hell does it have to be online again? I mean, I've done this rant a couple times with an emphasis mostly on, my frustrations with it. But what this has done recently is it's getting to the point where I'm afraid to get excited for a Fallout 4. Is it going to be digital only by the time it comes out? Is it going to even be on a physical disc? Who knows? I'm nervous. Is it going to be an online server-based game? Oh, with the new power of the cloud, we can create worlds 4 or 5 times, 10 times larger, with much more detail, thanks to the cloud and all this stuff. I don't give a rat's ass about the cloud. I really don't. I will boycott the game. If I find out it's an online-only cloud-based game, I will never play Fallout 4. This is my frustration. And the day this came out, I posted a trailer on my Facebook, and I think on Twitter as well, and I said, I will be excited about this once I hear all the final details. What kind of a game really is it? It's getting to the point now where I can't even get excited about new games because we had this, what was it called? I think it was No Man's Sky was another one. Now that's going to be another heavy server-based game. With the power of the servers, we can create these worlds on the fly. I'm not interested. It's a shame. It looked great. I love the art direction, the art style, going out and conquering your portion of space and finding fantastic worlds. It's right up my alley, but it's a server-based game. I can't do it. And I will not do it. So there's another one, Falls by the Wayside. The Crew, initially, I was excited about till I found out it's a server-based only game. It goes right down the line. It's getting to the point to where I'm afraid to get enthusiastic. I see trailers initially, and wow, that looks great. And the graphics do look great. The new Crackdown game, like I said, the trailer looked fantastic. And I was excited for a Crackdown reboot, but it's all about an online, all-the-time server with the power of the cloud. We can create all this crap. I don't give a shit. I'm not interested. I'm just not interested. That's why I can't get an Xbox One. Most of the games that I was excited about, Crackdown, Forza 5, and Forza Horizon 2, are all about the cloud and online features, including drive avatars. Even if you play it offline, you've just got these damn goofy drive avatars that are, downloaded down into the memory of your hard drive of how your crappy friends drive. And to me, it ruins the experience. Just not into it. So I know some of you share the same frustrations with me and would probably validate my point of view. And I also validate that many of you don't have an issue with it. You're just happy. I had a friend of mine said, Dean, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but frankly, I like Drive Club. I mean, just look at it as one of those kind of a summer vacation rides. It's here today and it probably won't be there tomorrow, but you just enjoy it for today. But as a collector of film and music and games, I like to have things that I can play for posterity, 10 years, if I live that long, 10 years from now or 20 years from now. And that's why I collect these games. Now, Wolfenstein, The New Order, it's wonderful. Now, it sadly doesn't have multiplayer for my multiplayer friends that would have liked a multiplayer game with this wonderful artwork and weapons. It probably would have made it for a wonderful multiplayer game. Maybe down the road they might even create something like that. But I was happy with this the way it was. It's funny, a lot of multiplayer people bagged on this game because it didn't have multiplayer and wouldn't even play it and gave it shitty reviews because of that. And they have the new DLC recently, which I've got, and I love it. Now, sadly, the DLC is digital only, although my UK friends can get a physical copy. And I probably will have to find, for the Sniper Elite Nazi Zombie Army Trilogy, I'm going to have to find a physical UK copy, and probably for the DLC, The Old Blood as well, and I'll pay whatever it costs, even though I've already paid for both of them in my PlayStation 4 downloads. I'm happy to have I want the physical copies. I want physical copies. I'm not thrilled with the patches and the nature of digital DLC and this constant stream of DLC and season passes and all that. I bought season passes. I think it was Forza 4. I remember buying a season pass or two. And it did save me a few bucks because I bought so much DLC, but I got a small fortune in DLC. So I'm not thrilled about DLC, but I don't have an issue with it. I do buy it occasionally. I just recently downloaded some, Hitman Absolution weapon packs and stuff like that because I do like, and place a value on DLC, some of it, and we'll buy that. Call of Juarez Gunslinger is one of those digital-only games, and what are you going to do? I mean, you not play the game, I guess. So I'm kind of on the fence. I'm torn. But I will always keep Call of Juarez Gunslinger and Trials Evolution and Trials, HD. I will keep in my hard drive of my Xbox 360 because they're wonderful games, and I want to have them with or without a physical copy. But going to just a digital-only feature, I honestly can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't get excited. I can't get excited for a Battlefront game that's multiplayer only. I can't get excited about a Fallout 4 game that could be, we don't know yet, we really don't know, that could be a cloud-based game. I mean, who knows? I'm hoping that, for the love of God, they'll have a disc-only deal. The same thing with the new Doom reboot coming out, or Doom 4, or whatever the hell it is. Looks very, very good. I hope that it's going to be a great game, a physical copy that I can buy and play offline. But those are my requirements. So the PS4 could very well be the last frontier for me. That may be it. This may be the last console that I'm going to get, and that's okay. I don't know how much longer I'm going to live anyway, so I can enjoy the last 10 or 20 years of my life perhaps playing these games anytime I want. Now, I just saw yesterday they announced that they're going to come out with a new PS4 where you can get with a 1 terabyte hard drive, and that's a welcome addition. That's a piece of technology news that I actually enjoy hearing that I could use. I would like that. In fact, I'd like to get maybe a 2 terabyte hard drive, just because I love to store my games. If something happens down the road, my favorite games with their patches, DLC, everything's all in place. That's one of the reasons why sometime this year I've got to get serious and get another brand new Xbox 360 with a new 500 gig hard drive, because I've already maxed out the 320 gig hard drive, and I'm deleting games again to make room to put new games on. I just got, Need for Speed Undercover, an older 2009 game, which I've got in the other room, and it's a cool game. I'm dying, but I've got actually going to have to delete another favorite to make room for it. So I'm not thrilled about that, but it is what it is. So I'm willing to pay the price and buy an extra console and hard drives to keep the new legacy of gaming alive. But the worst case scenario, I can go back and play many of these old games anytime I want, because I'll have the hard drives, I'll have the consoles and the TVs to play them on. So that's my feeling on it. It's just, how do you feel? Can you still get excited about gaming news the way you used to, about new technology, about E3? Does it really, do you care? Does it matter to you as much as it used to? Are you similar to me to where you're cautiously optimistic? We'll leave it like that. That might be the best way to put it. I want to embrace technology. I want to see things that are new, but I want it done right to where we can enjoy them when we want, where we want, anytime we want, not just while the servers are up. This new Dead Island 4, or 2, looked really cool. That I think it was, oh God, who is the developer that's doing it? The one that did Spec Ops: The Line. I think it's Jaeger. Jaeger's doing it. So I started following and tweeting to Jaeger, and come to find out it's another online game where you tie into a server to play it, and then even if you want to play a solo campaign, you have to go on to the servers first. And so I'll probably sadly pass on that, which is really a tragedy. So I may have to go back and get Dying Light at the end of the day, after all, if I want to play a newer zombie game, which is frustrating. So how do you feel about this? Do you think I'm overreacting? And again, some of you, you embrace whatever is new. You're happy to go along with whatever's going on at the moment. And I used to be that way, but I don't embrace everything that's coming out that's new. I embrace some of it, if it makes sense to me. If it fits with my thinking as a collector, as a gamer, for the kind of entertainment that I want now or in the future, that would be great. In fact, I got a special shout out I want to give, and I've got a copy of this Steel Empire that my friend Clint from Blast Mode 7, I've got a link to his channel down below. He just sent me this. He knew that I wanted this game for my collection, for my Sega Genesis collection, and he found me a really clean copy of this, just by itself, but I'm thrilled to have this. This is so cool. So I'm dying. Thank you, Clint, very much. This is a wonderful addition for my Sega Genesis library, but again, when I see this, I can't help but smile and to realize I can play this game. I've got not one but 2 TV sets. That's why I bought a backup analog TV, and I've got a backup Sega Genesis console just to play this game. just to play these Sega Genesis games, or RoboCop versus Terminator, because I love keeping the legacy of gaming alive, and I'd like to be able to do that for the 7th and 8th generation too. So let me know in the comments what you think about all this and how you feel. Is there certain technologies that you will embrace, or are there certain ones and trends that you're seeing that you're concerned about that you won't embrace? Let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. So thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy your games, whether they're newer games or retro games. Enjoy them and enjoy life. Thanks for watching.